A few students spotted Jefferson before they got onto a school bus. "Do something cool," a boy said, "like snakes." "Paint a zoo," a girl said. "No superheroes," suggested another boy. As the kids boarded the bus, Jefferson thought about their ideas. Suddenly, he could picture something. A vision. He pulled out his notebook and started jotting things down. The following week, the school auditorium was noisy with excitement. Principal Cooler was already on stage. A screen had been set up, and Jefferson was standing behind a laptop. Once the students quieted, Principal Cooler said, "Jefferson will present his design idea for the mural. When he's finished, I'll ask for your opinions." Whew, that's kind of harsh. Miss Karagosian's nervous for him. Jefferson's hands started to sweat. It's kind of like his ears burning, right? It's all about his nerves. As he pulled up an image, "I hope you like it." The auditorium got quiet as everyone took in Jefferson's design. There was a lot to look at. Superheroes, a zoo, snakes, flowers, a roller coaster, practically everything that had been mentioned to Jefferson in the last week. Finally, a kindergartner squealed, "The puppy I wanted is so cute!" Jefferson sighed with relief. She likes it. "But sparkles really should be pink." Jefferson's smile faded. He glanced at Principal Cooler, who was standing to the side. "Interesting," she said. Then she smoothed her skirt and faced the audience. "So, raise your hand if you have feedback for Jefferson." Dozens of hands shot up. One student suggested Jefferson use different superheroes. Another thought he should add a motorcycle, and another wanted him to change all the colors to black and white. Jefferson bit his lip and scribbled down all of their ideas. "Not to worry," Principal Cooler said. "Jefferson has another week to come up with a revision. Assembly dismissed." So a revision, like what we do in our writing process, right? We edit and then we revise to make some changes based on all the feedback that he got. After school, Jefferson went outside to look at the wall again, hoping to be inspired. He nodded a hello to Mr. Summers, who was mowing perfectly cut lines up and down the lawn. Jefferson turned to stare at his canvas, only 2 stories of white wall. Yet he had enough ideas from everyone for a 4-story wall. How was he going to design something that would work? He was just a kid. He wasn't a real artist. Then it hit him. Of course, he was just a kid, and he'd only been listening to other kids. The teachers were the ones who made the rules at Flint Hill. He should find out what they want. Then he couldn't go wrong. The following week, everyone was gathered in the auditorium again. Jefferson knew this design would go off without a hitch. After Principal Cooler got everyone's attention, Jefferson brought an image up on the screen. There it was, Flint Hill. Everything the teachers thought would represent the school best, suggested by the rule makers themselves. Jefferson beamed, smiled, lit off like all kinds of good energy. Mr. Averett, the librarian, had asked for books. Miss Mislowski thought drama masks would be nice. Mrs. Moritzen wanted a falcon, the school mascot. Jefferson even put in the cup of coffee Miss Bear said she really needed the other day. "Oh my," Principal Cooler said, studying the screen. "I see you've also included an image of a bigger paycheck for Mr. Liu. Interesting. Anyone have feedback for Jefferson?" Hundreds of hands shot up. Principal Cooler picked a girl in the front row. "Where's Sparkles?" she said. "Yeah, what happened to everything we wanted?" said another student. Many of the students were upset that everything they had asked for was gone. But the kicker was when Mr. Averett said he wanted the books on the mural to be arranged by the Dewey Decimal System, not alphabetically. Jefferson's stomach sank. When he looked at his design again, he didn't see anything that had made him confident anymore. It was a disaster. The mural was not cool. How could he ever think a bunch of teachers' ideas would be great to begin with? What was he thinking? But Principal Cooler remained as calm as ever. Everyone, we put Jefferson on the job because he is a true artist, right? And Flint Hill is not just any school. We are a proud school. We see possibilities in everyone. Miss Karagosian's going to read that again. I like that. We see possibilities in everyone. And we see it with Jefferson, just like we did with the plastics inventor who went here 50 years ago. Let's give Jefferson the boost he needs. Principal Cooler did more polite clapping. I'm a believer, Darren called from the audience. Jefferson, Jefferson. Before long, the whole school was chanting. But this time, Jefferson wondered if they meant it or if they just loved being able to shout in school without getting in trouble. After the assembly was over, Jefferson strode out to the lawn. There was Mr. Summers, like an old friend, mowing the lawn and making the school look terrible in comparison. Jefferson groaned. Maybe it was Mr. Summers' fault that Jefferson was stuck in this mess. Jefferson looked at the wall, lay down in the grass, and closed his eyes. His head was swimming with the ideas everyone had given him. From superheroes to poodles to library books, he'd drawn it all. There was nothing left to draw anymore. He closed his eyes, his thoughts spinning. Hey boy, someone said. Jefferson opened his eyes. He had no idea how long he'd been lying there. Mr. Summers was standing over him. I haven't mowed this spot yet. Jefferson got to his feet. Sorry about that. Mr. Summers took off his cap and wiped the sweat from his brow. You're the kid who's going to paint the wall, aren't you? Supposed to. Good. It's making my lawn look bad. Make it perfect. If only I knew how. No one likes my ideas for it. Mr. Summers scratched his head. I'm confused. He pointed at the wall with his cap. That wall's blank. Don't you have to paint something first? Where's your idea? Jefferson started to explain, but as he stared at the black wall, something at the blank wall, Miss Karagosian, something occurred to him. He hadn't painted anything. He's been so busy listening to everyone else's ideas. Where was his ideas? Mr. Summers marched back to his mower. Paint the wall, boy, he called back. Then ask what everyone thinks. Now, I've got a lawn to cut. As Mr. Summers started the mower, Jefferson glanced at the endless slope of perfectly cut grass that the groundskeeper had already finished. Paint the wall. Paint the wall. Mr. Summers was right. Jefferson smiled and pulled out his notepad. The next day, Jefferson told Principal Cooler what he wanted to do. She got him everything he needed, the paint, brushes, and a helper, Mr. Summers. To paint the wall, Jefferson wore a harness and worked on a platform supported by 4 large ropes hanging from the roof. Mr. Summers would move Jefferson around the wall by using the ropes. Every day after school until the anniversary neared, Jefferson worked on his painting. For the next 2 weeks, the only thing anyone talked about was Jefferson's mural. Everyone had guesses, but no one knew what it was because Jefferson had been carefully covering each completed section to protect it from the elements while it dried. When the big day finally arrived, Flint Hill's 50th anniversary celebration was huge. Practically everyone from the town was there for the grand unveiling of the mural, including the mayor. They had to know what was on that wall. Principal Cooler made a speech about 50 years of pride, accomplishment, achievement. Jefferson stood between the principal and the mayor. But being right next to the mayor didn't even faze Jefferson. All his thoughts were centered on the grand unveiling of his mural. Finally, Principal Cooler said, "And now, Mr. Mayor, Flint Hill presents a mural that represents who we are as a school and the community we live in, designed and executed by one of our very own students, Jefferson Johnson. Will you do us the honor?" Jefferson walked to the side of the wall. He took a deep breath and tugged on a rope that Mr. Summers had rigged for him. The cloth dropped. One by one, everyone's eyes got big. Jaws dropped. The mural was beautiful, awesome, cool. Boys and girls alike started yelling and clapping. Principal Cooler beamed like Jefferson was actually her son and not the son of Jefferson's real parents, who were standing in the front row cheering their heads off. Jefferson couldn't have felt more proud. He was an artist, a real artist with a vision. After the ceremony ended, Darren slapped Jefferson on the back. "So how'd you know what to do, man?" Jefferson shrugged. "The usual. I paint what I see." Jefferson and Darren stared at the mural together. Jefferson had painted a continuation of a perfectly cut, expansive green lawn that met a gorgeous horizon in the distance. The sky in the mural matched the real one behind it. At the top, Jefferson had written, "Flint Hill, see your possibilities." Flint Hill looked like it just might be brand new, and like Mr. Summers' lawn, it was absolutely perfect too. So he took the green grass that goes all the way up to the wall and he extended it and made it look 3D out, and he made the wall green like grass and then brought it up and made the top part of the building sky so it met the sky. So when you're standing on the beautiful grass and you look at the building, it looks like it just goes on and on and on. And sometimes we have to be able to see into the future to see our possibilities. So when you're standing looking at the school and all the things that you can learn in the school and all the teachers that are in the school and the things they can teach you and all your friends that are in the school and the things your friends can teach you and all the staff members like the people in the cafeteria and the people like Mr. Summers and the principal, everybody that's in that school has possibilities. So when you're walking up to the school, all you can see is just into the future, into your possibilities. And when Jefferson finally trusted his own brain instead of trying to make everyone else happy, then he was able to be an artist. Tomorrow is called Smash Mouth Taffy. All right, Team Caragosian, love you, miss you, talk to you tomorrow.